Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today is Wednesday, October 21st, 2020, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the 2020 electoral map based off of 538's Trump-Biden election map, where they give you the possibility of putting certain states in each political party's column and then adjusting for a certain win type. So essentially, if I give Biden a state such as Michigan, his chances at winning the presidency increase. They're taking the current projection and the current model and then applying how you think the race will go, and then discussing, or not really discussing, but giving you numbers as to what percent chance Donald Trump has at victory and what percent chance Biden has at victory. So the model today gives Donald Trump a 12% chance at winning. Joe Biden has an 87% chance at winning. On average, Biden receives 345.5 electoral votes. Donald Trump receives 192.5. There is a 1% chance that there is a tie, which would be 269 to 269, in which case the incoming House of Representatives and the Senate would vote on the president and the vice president, and there are very weird things about the House of Representatives vote. It would probably go to Trump, even though the Democrats are all but surely going to win the House of Representatives. So just moving past that, the most likely scenario at this point is a Joe Biden victory. So they give you the possibility of changing some states, but not all states. Now, they do give you the possibility of making Biden the winner in Arkansas, but they do not give you the possibility of Trump winning in California. That's mainly just because of the fact that, as you can see, as soon as Arkansas went blue, if Biden was able to win there, you would see that he would be dominating across the rest of the country. But obviously, that's not too likely to happen. It's going to go to Donald Trump. So we're going to be working outside of the key states first. We're going to be characterizing each individual state just because I want to solidify all of the safe states and then actually move on to these key states. Now, surprisingly enough, they do not include Iowa in the key states. For whatever reason, it's 6 electoral votes. While electoral count-wise may be inconsequential, there also should be no reason why Nebraska's second is included where Iowa isn't. They're literally right next to each other. But that's besides the point. Let's go ahead and characterize all of the safe states for both parties. So I'm not going to be worried too much about Alaska. I understand I characterize it as likely, but we're really only focusing on these main states. Joe Biden is obviously the favorite in a number of these battleground. I mean, he is the favorite in battleground states, but in these competitive states. But we're going to be just characterizing all of these states, how we know they're probably going to go. And then we'll actually get a little bit more into the swing states, just because we really don't need to discuss why Montana is going red, nor why New York is going blue. So I'm going to characterize all of these states, and let's go ahead. Actually, not New Hampshire. That is a swing district, swing state, not a swing district. New Jersey goes blue. New Mexico goes blue. Nevada will come back to New York. Ohio will come back to Oklahoma goes red. Oregon's blue. Rhode Island's blue. South Carolina, again, it may be competitive on the Senate level. It may be slightly competitive on the presidential level. We're not too worried about it. South Dakota goes red. Tennessee, Utah, Virginia goes blue. Vermont, Washington, Wisconsin will come back to. West Virginia goes to Trump, and Wyoming goes to Trump. So now we have all of the key states plus Iowa, and we can focus on how Donald Trump and Joe Biden's performance in these battleground states impacts the election. So you can see that once we have solidified all of the states that are considered safe at this point for Joe Biden, he has an 89% chance of victory. It bumps up 1%, 2% for Biden, and Donald Trump has an 11% chance of victory. So Joe Biden now has 203 solid electoral votes. Donald Trump only has 125. We have numerous swing states, and we can see just how much it actually changes the electoral map based off of my characterizations of each race. For example, if Biden wins the state of Florida, just Florida, it's indicative of how the rest of the country will vote. So if Florida goes blue, Joe Biden's chances at winning the presidency jump up to greater than 99%. That is one state. Biden right now is leading in every single one of these key states and districts except for Texas. Every single one. We'll get to that extreme scenario in a moment, but actually, based off the numbers, it's not too extreme. It's just weird to imagine that all of the key states could be considered, Biden states pretty solidly. So Joe Biden wins Florida, greater than 99% chance at winning. But if Trump wins Florida, his chance at winning the Electoral College skyrockets to 32%. This is right back to 2016. So if Florida shows us on election night, and we will probably get election results from Florida very early. They've already started counting ballots. They count their votes very quickly. It's the third most populous state in the union. So we will probably see a very large electoral prize called very early in the evening, or at least very early in the election week, that gives us a general idea of who's winning. So Florida, if that goes red, then Trump's chances skyrocket, which is exactly why a number of these states are crucial. Now, a Florida win for Trump can be counteracted with a Biden win in Michigan. It adds it puts him at 75%, in Pennsylvania, which puts him at 91%, and then Wisconsin, which puts him at 98%. So again, just with the 3 states, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, even with Trump winning Florida, Biden still has a 98% chance of victory. Now, if Biden wins the state of Florida there, it's a 100% chance at winning. Donald Trump has no possible pathway to 270, and that makes sense. I mean, with the addition of Florida, it puts them over 300 electoral votes, assuming all the Clinton states remain the same. And even if they didn't, well, we can characterize those. All the Clinton states that went to her 4 years ago, well, Donald Trump still has a 0% chance of victory at that point. So, again, that is not likely to happen whatsoever, but it's just a point to note that if Joe Biden, even without Florida, he has a greater than 99% chance of winning if he wins the 3 Rust Belt states. So if those states get called pretty early in the evening, well, I guess you could say by 11 p.m., it's game over. But we all know the year 2020, it's never like that. Let's go ahead and figure out some more scenarios. This is such an interactive tool. I will be using it for the election along with a couple of other websites. I mean, I used votefair.com yesterday. Not yesterday, maybe it was the day before. But I'll be using a number of things, probably on election night as well, just to see, once the races get called, what this actually means for the 538 forecast and the election itself. So now that Joe Biden is at an 89% chance of winning, Donald Trump is at an 11% chance of winning, let's go ahead and talk about the polled scenario. What I was talking about earlier when I said, looking at the overall numbers, when Biden is up in Arizona and when he's up in pretty much all of the battleground states, I don't know if he's still leading in Ohio. Actually, he's not. So he's down 0.2% in the state Trump won by 8%, but Texas was the only real state that went to Donald Trump by a pretty solid margin compared to the rest of the polls. Obviously, a 1.3% lead is not super strong, especially in a state that swung 3% in favor of the Democrats 4 years ago, but it's the largest lead he has out of any of the swing states. So let's characterize it based off the polls. So as soon as Arizona gets called for Biden, or if I say Arizona's going blue, the rest of the states get bluer. Colorado doesn't have too much of an impact. The overall numbers don't change too heavily, but Florida is where Biden is leading right now. He has a greater than 99% chance of winning if he wins in the state of Florida. Now, Georgia, for whatever reason, has Biden leading as well. Michigan follows suit, Minnesota, Nebraska 2nd District, New Hampshire, Nevada, North Carolina. Ohio goes red, Pennsylvania goes blue, Texas goes red, and Wisconsin goes blue. Based off the polling numbers alone, let's go ahead and characterize Iowa for Trump. You finalize the map with Joe Biden winning 350 electoral votes to Trump's 187. And there is not a single possibility that he wins the presidency. And obviously, that makes sense. He's already at 270, but the lowest amount of electoral votes is 350. And in extreme cases, he's doing well. If we leave Texas open, Texas, probably based off the rest of the map, will still go red. But look at the percent chance. Joe Biden still has a 1 in 3 chance at winning Texas. Let's say we take out Ohio, for instance. Let's say we take out Iowa. All of the Trump states go, well, not Idaho. Take out Iowa. All of the Trump states go, well, take a look at how that impacts all 3 of the states. Biden comes to a 46% chance in Texas, becomes the favorite in Ohio, and becomes the favorite in Iowa. Now, Trump will probably win Georgia. Realistically, he will probably do well in Georgia, in Ohio, in Texas. And outside of there, he could possibly win Florida. If we swing Florida in favor of Donald Trump, then he still, comes closer to Joe Biden, but he doesn't come to a point where he could win the presidency. I would have to relinquish some of these battleground states such as Arizona and, Pennsylvania and North Carolina in order for there to be an even remote possibility that Donald Trump wins the presidency. So, again, just to recap some major points from this swinging map, if Biden is able to even win the Rust Belt, forget Nebraska 2nd, forget even New Hampshire, if I give Biden Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, and Minnesota, the Clinton state from 2016, with Colorado, and Trump is able to win in a number of other areas across the country, Biden is already at 270. Now, if I take out Pennsylvania, it leaves it to a point where it could technically go to Donald Trump. I mean, I'm going to wait for the map to load in here, but, looking at the percent chance of winning here, Trump still has a 1 in 3 chance at winning if I relinquish Pennsylvania. But we know, based off the numbers, that Joe Biden is probably going to do very well across these Rust Belt states. And they are going to probably shift the rest of the country even bluer. Because once these Rust Belt states go blue, it'll tell us a lot more about surrounding states. If I take out Ohio, let me take out Iowa as well, which already been taken out. I'll take out Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Nebraska, pretty much every state, except for the Rust Belt. And I made this point at the beginning of the video. Once the Rust Belt goes red, once the Rust Belt goes blue, Biden will probably win the presidency. But taking a look at the other states around the country, if the Rust Belt is to go blue, North Carolina, Biden is the clear favorite with a 72% chance of winning. He jumps up to a very close mark in Georgia. He becomes the favorite in Florida at a 77% chance at winning. In Arizona, he has a 72% chance at winning. Nearby in Ohio, Trump has the lead, but only narrowly. I mean, this is a coin toss. Iowa is practically a coin toss as well. So just with these Rust Belt states alone, it puts Biden at a very, very good position. I mean, if I move the state of Nevada, it makes Arizona slightly bluer. And the rest of the country, Georgia will go red. Ohio would be tied in this scenario. Iowa would still go red. But let's say, for instance, Biden wins the Rust Belt, but also wins a southern state. Let's say North Carolina goes blue. Well, you can see what this does to Florida. You just saw it visibly get bluer. Take out North Carolina, and Florida is a shade bluer, a lighter shade of blue, but becomes darker to an 88% chance of victory for Biden. In Georgia, with a North Carolina win, Georgia jumps up to a 58% chance of victory. If we take a look at Ohio, Biden has a 61% chance of victory. And you look at Iowa, he now becomes the favorite. What's the reason for that? Well, Georgia was a state that Donald Trump won by 5% in 2016. It was a state where the Clinton campaign thought they could make inroads, and technically they did, but also it was because of Donald Trump's candidacy. These Republicans here didn't exactly adore him the same way that a number of other Republicans did around the country. And while a number of Republicans obviously are staying with the Trump campaign, over 90%, there still are certain, I guess you could say, defect supporters, such as John Kasich or Mitt Romney, or a number of other notable Republican figures who previously voted for Trump or just didn't vote for Hillary but voted for somebody else that are now voting for Biden. So if Georgia is to go to the Democrats as well, it gets even worse for Donald Trump. Florida becomes a 96% chance of victory for Biden. Ohio becomes 70%. Iowa becomes 62%. Texas gets even closer. Now, Texas realistically is probably going to go to Donald Trump. A map where Donald Trump was the favorite to win the election would start with him winning in Texas. That would be the first state that would have to go to Trump, because once I add Texas, his chance at winning increases 2%. But let's say I throw in a Rust Belt state. Michigan, the bluest Rust Belt state out of all four, including Minnesota, goes to Trump. Well, now he has a 94% chance, 96% chance of victory, 90% chance of victory if Michigan goes red. So 92 now. They adjust all of these states, and it's probably actually going to get a little bit redder. It's kind of slow. My computer's not exactly the best, but as we go through all of these states, I'm waiting for it to load in. Trump has an 87% chance at winning if he wins Michigan. So you can see the impact of literally one state. Florida, called even before the Rust Belt, to Biden gives him a greater than 99% chance of victory. Michigan, called before practically any other state, even if I take out Texas, it won't fundamentally change the trajectory of the race. Trump still has a very solid chance of winning the presidency around where Biden stands today. So all in all, certain states going one way are great indicators of where the rest of the country is going to go. Because if we find out on election night at 12 a.m. that Michigan has gone red, it is game over for Joe Biden. If we find out around 12 a.m. that Florida has gone blue, it is game over for Donald Trump. So these are great indicator states. You can find this on the 538 website if you want to play with it yourself. It is honestly a very interactive tool, and it is pretty cool. And they don't let you go into states where candidates don't have a greater than 1.5% chance at winning the state, or less than that, just because it's super unrealistic. And they also wrote an article about how they don't really want you breaking the model. It's just more for your own enjoyment for swing states. But you can see the impact of one state. Now, a weird type of map is if Michigan went red, but Georgia somehow went blue. That would really just ultimately change the way that this race is looking, which I think is just fascinating. There's so many scenarios that you can come up with, but it's just such a cool tool to use. And, you can go ahead and take a look. Now, I think in this map, they're viewing Michigan as an outlier because now Trump has become the not favorite to win the presidency. Joe Biden has become the clear favorite at 76% because Georgia has gone blue. So very weird scenarios. If we were working with an alternating pattern, I want to see what that would do before I end off this video, just for fun, to see what that would actually do. I guess Biden would win just based off electoral count, but you can see what that does to Iowa, where now Trump has a 94% chance. So I forgot to characterize that state, but that is just such a weird electoral map, and this tool is really cool. So go ahead and check it out for yourselves. You can see way more than what I did. You can check out the impact of each individual state, but major recap, we're probably going to see states such as Pennsylvania as the tipping point. If Pennsylvania goes blue, Biden has a 97% chance of victory. If Pennsylvania goes red, Trump has a 73% chance of victory. So certain states definitely will be amazing indicators as to where the rest of the country is going. And this map gives you the chances of each state going to either candidate based off of your one or multiple state changes that ultimately rewrites their 2020 election forecast. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to comment down suggestions below. Subscribe on the left if you haven't already, and check out the Instagram and Twitter. At the bottom left of the screen, there's also a Discord link for you to go ahead and join. On the screen, there's a video you can watch, and then a playlist for my 2020 election videos. I think there's 260 now. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all later today.